All right, today is Friday and Miss Webster is out taking a test. But I have prepared everything you need to make sure that we are still multiplying decimals and we're successful today. So you are going to get one of each of these pieces of paper. You'll have a purple piece of paper, a tan piece of paper, a paper that says 3.6. On the back it says 3.7. You will have your Module 3 assessment, which we will use as a quiz. You will also have your Quizlet test. So in that order is what we are going to work today. So if you will please go to your purple paper first. You are going to take your paper and turn it sideways. So this is normal. Turn it sideways. Okay. You are going to fold that paper down, leaving about a half an inch at the bottom. Don't fold it all the way, okay? We are then going to fold it in half like this over. We are making a foldable. This will go in the foldable section of your notebook when you are done. And then fold it over in half again, just like that. Crease it pretty nicely and then open it all back up. So now you have this. Then I want you to open this and you are only going to cut these 4 doors so that they will open. So you're only cutting up those 4 doors so that they will open. Okay, at the point that you have them cut, you are going to write for me on the outside of door 1. We are going to write step 1. Next door, we are going to write step 2. Then we're going to have step 3. And then the last door, step 4. On the bottom here, I would like you to write, yes, that was on the marker's phone. I would like you to write multiplying decimals. Multiplying decimals is going to go here. Multiplying decimals. And we are going to go through all 4 steps of how we are going to multiply. Okay? Step 1. We are going to round the factors to find an estimate. These are for the problems to say about how much did he earn, different things like that. Estimate of the product this will give us an answer near our final answer. Okay, so let's say that we have 3.4 and we are multiplying that by 4.6. So what they're saying is on those problems where we are just trying to figure out if it's close or what our answer should be close to, 3.4, if we rounded that to the nearest whole dollar, it would be 3. 4, if we rounded that, that 6 is going to round that 4 up to a 5. And if we multiplied that, we would get 15. So our answer that we get when we actually do our multiplication problem, my answer should be near 15. My answer should be near 15. Okay, so we just kind of estimated that. Step 2. Step 2 is going to be to multiply and then we're going to put like you do for whole numbers. It's just straight multiplication. And then I'm going to put in, let's put a star and put ignore the decimals. Just multiply. Y'all are all good at the multiplication piece of it. So going back to that same problem I had, 3.4 times 4.6. I'm going to ignore those decimals, 3.4 times 4.6. Ignoring those decimals, I'm just going to multiply. 6 times 4 is 24, carry your 2. 6 times 3, 18, 19, 20. Move over using a placeholder. 4 times 4, 16, carry your 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Okay, so I multiplied like I do normally. All right, then what is going to be my next step? I've got to do what? Well, I've got to add that. So 4 plus nothing is 4, 0 plus 6 is 6, 2 plus 3 is 5, and 1. Okay, so we have that answer right there. Now let's go to step 3. We are going to place our decimal. Place decimal. The way that we're going to do that is we are going to count. So place decimal by counting the number of digits to the right of the decimal in each factor. We need to remember what the factors are, okay? I'm going to give you a little arrow right here. Right here, when I multiplied by the 6 right here, this is a factor. This is the factor. This by each of the products. I'm so sorry. Right here, don't put factor by each product. No, in each factor. I am all over the place. In each factor. So right here, these are my factors right here. Factor, factor. Then this gives me my partial product right here, 204, which is the partial product when I multiplied the 6 times the 4 and then the 3. This is the other partial product, and then I get my final product, okay? So this is my product. And these both are partial products. So count the decimals. So I'm going to rewrite my problem right here. I had 3.4 times 4.6. 6 times 4 we said was 24. You carried your 2. 6 times 3 is 18, 19, 20. I move over with my placeholder. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry that 1. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13. And then I knew to add. That's 4, 6, 5, and 1. I count my decimals. So here, and I'm going to use this pink to do this. Here I have one number, one digit behind the decimal. Here I have one number behind the decimal. So that's 1 and 1 gives me 2. So my decimal does not fall down. I have to come in here and I have to place him. So let me 1, 2. So he goes in my answer, in my product, 1, 2. That's my decimal point. Okay. And then I have a fourth step, and my fourth step is going to be check. Check. And then to see if your answer is reasonable. After you place your decimal, you should be able to look back and say, okay, I have $15.64 or 15 and 64 hundredths. Is that close to 15? Yes. If I would have put that decimal over here, that'd been 156. Is that close to 15? No. So check to see if your answer is reasonable. And here I got 15 and 64 hundredths. So this is my real answer, which is close to 15, my estimate. And again, we came up with our estimate by rounding, okay? You are going to close this foldable like this, fold it over neatly, and then this is going to be glued on the back, glued into your math log in the foldable section, and it's going to be labeled multiplying decimals. So go ahead and glue that into your math log, and then go to your brown sheet of paper for me. Okay, we are going to use our brown sheet of paper like normal paper, standing up. At the very top of your paper, I want you, and we are going to fold this up to like this, but leave that little space up top. So I want you to write at the top, problem-solving tree. Problem-solving tree. Okay? I want you to unfold that tree, and at the very, very top, I would like you to write a rectangle. And in that rectangle, I want you to write, does it use the word each? Does it use the word each? Okay. If it does, put a box over here that says, yes, it does. Then go this way and put, no, it does not use the word each. Okay. From there, I want you to draw a little arrow down from each of those. So let's think about that. If it uses the word each, yes, it does. The next question you have to ask yourself is the total given? Put a box around that. So from there, if that answer is yes, put a box around that. Or is that answer no? Okay, so right now we've asked, does it use the word each? Yes, it does. You have to ask, is the total given? This is a question. I'm going to put a question mark out here. This is a question. These are questions that you're asking yourself. Yes, it does. Then you know that you are going to divide. That is how you're going to solve that problem. And that is going to be done with division. Okay. If, does it use the word each? It says each in the problem. Yes, it does. Is the total given? No, the total's not given. Then you are going to multiply. These will help you on those word problems that we're struggling on. Okay. And to multiply means you're using multiplication. Remember, our multiplication in 5th grade could be a dot or any of those, okay? All right, go to this side. Does it use the word each? No, it doesn't. You need to ask yourself, is the total given? Again, that's a question that we're asking ourselves. So we're going to put that in a box. Okay. If yes, the total is given, then we are going to subtract. And that would be the subtraction. If no, the total is not given, then we are going to what? What's left? Look at my chart. What's left? We are going to add. And the way that's going to look is an addition problem. So, in those tricky problems that use the word each, if it's yes, ask yourself, is the total given? Yes, it is. You're going to divide. Is the total given? No. Then you're going to multiply. It doesn't use the word each. No, it doesn't. Is the total given? Yes. Then you're going to subtract. Is the total given? You're going to add. So if it does not use the word each, but it gives you a total, then you're going to subtract. And if it doesn't give you a total, you're going to add. Okay? So you're going to fold this back up. Put this into the foldable section of your notebook. All right, we are going to multiply decimals using a model. So we have a question here that says 0.6 times 0.9 or 6/10 times 9/10. So here's what I want you to do. We know that 6 in the tenths is 6 dimes. Okay, there's 100 pennies in this thing right here. So if I have 6 dimes, I have 60 cents. So go ahead, and that's 1 dime. If I highlight 1, then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I highlighted 6 of those for you. So there is 6 dimes that I highlighted. Okay. Then if I highlight, go the other direction, I'm multiplying by 9/10 or 9 dimes. So this way I'm going to highlight 9 dimes. So 1. Let me actually use my pencil for this one. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And here's what is neat about this. Let me zoom in so you can see this really well. The answer to this question is going to be the ones that I highlighted both. So not just the pencil, and I shouldn't have used that orange right there, not just the yellow, but the ones that are both colors. So if I count those, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 6 times what? How many? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I know that that area is 6 times 9 is 54. Okay. So if I count these 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54. So I'm going to get 54 out of how many total? Well, remember there's 100 pennies. So 54 pennies. Well, that answer, if I come over here and I multiply that, 0.6 times 0.9. Well, 9 times 6 is 54. Carry that 5. 9 times 0 is 0 plus 5 is going to give me 54. And if I count my decimal, I can multiply that by that 0, but I don't have to because I know it's going to give me all zeros. So 12.54. Okay. So let's try another one together. First time I'm going to highlight in one color, and the next time I'm going to go with my pencil. So 0.5 or 5/10, which would be 50 of them, right? So 5/10, that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So I have 50 cents there. And I'm multiplying by 1 whole, okay, 1 and 7/10. So 1 whole, well, that would be this one right here, right? This whole thing over here. 1 whole dollar. That's 100 pennies, right? 1 whole dollar. So I can shade in that whole thing. And then 7/10. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. So my answer is not everything I shaded in, but what is double shaded. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So 35 out of what? What's this out of? Okay. 100. Let's talk about that. So out of 100, let's take that 1.7, multiply it by 0.5 or 0.5. 5 times 7 is 35, carry your 3. 5 times 1 is 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, sorry, I had to stop and we tutored and now I'm back. So what happened here is I got 35 when I counted those double squares, but when I multiplied, I got 0.85. Something happened, something went wrong. Here's what Miss Webster needs to remind you of. You have to do 0.5 on each 100. So you've got to fill out 5/10 on this set too. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now if I do that and I count what is double shaded, remember I shaded this whole thing earlier. So that means that 5 or 10, 15, or 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 of them are shaded here. 50 and then 35 are over here. So this is really 85 hundredths. 85 out of 100 are shaded. So does that make sense? This is why this is 0.85. And again, you have to shade in that first number. If there is more than one square, if it's over a whole that you're going to do, it gets done on both of them. So let's go to this one. And let's try this. So we have, the first time I'm going to highlight. So I've got 2/10, which would mean 2 dimes, right? So these are pennies. Each little square is a penny. And I've got 10 and then 20. And then I've got to go the other direction with how many of them? 8 of them. So, which 8/10 would be 80. So that's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 of them. And then how many are double shaded? Well, 1, 2. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. Okay, so let's check this. And my decimal is how many back? Well, 1, 2. So it should fall right there. And let's check it. Let's do 0.2 times 0.8. 8 times 2 is 16. Carry the 1. 8 times 0 is 0 plus 1 is 1. My decimal is going to go 1, 2. 1, 2.16. Okay, well, I'd already done this one. So here I have 0.3. I am going to shade, again, 3/10, 3 dimes. And if these are dimes, remember that's 10 pennies. So I have 3 of them. So I've got 10, 20, 30 of them. And then I'm going to go the other direction with how many dimes? 7 or 70 blocks, 7 in there by 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many are double shaded? with the pencil and the highlighter. Well, that's 3. So 3, 6, 9, 12. What's that? 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. And then my decimal is 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, let's check it. 0.3 times 0.7. 7 times 3 is 21. Carry your 2. Remember to check and make sure you've written 21 and not 12. 21. 7 times 0 is 0 plus 2. And then my decimal, and I can multiply it out by my 0, but it's not going to change my answer. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? All right, I want you to pause the video right now, and I want you to try this one. It's a double one like we did up here. Remember, 0.7 you've got to do on this grid and this one before you go the other way. Okay? So I want you to pause the video right now and then come back and watch me do it. I want you to try this one on your own and then come back. All right, so now you should be back, and I want you to shade with the highlighter again, or yellow. So 7/10 or 7 dimes, right? And again, if I plugged that little 0 in the back, that would be 70 cents, so 70 squares. And I'm going to go by tens. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. I've got to do it on that one. And then remember our mistake up here? We have to do it on this one as well. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 there. Then I've got to shade in 1.2. 1 stands for, if I give you $1, you have how many? These are pennies, remember. You have a whole, right? You have a whole. So 1 whole, or 100 pennies, right? Or 10 dimes. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. So I've shaded in. All of those are double shaded. Okay. So that 1 whole, and then 0.2 this way. So 2 dimes. So what is double shaded? What did I yellow and pencil? Well, I know that all of these are double shaded, so I'm going to count those. They're by 10. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84. And my decimal is 1, 2, 1, 2. So I get 0.84. Now let's check it by taking, again, I'm going to put my 1.2 up top. I'm going to multiply 0.7. Doesn't matter which one's on top as long as you multiply it all the way through. 7 times 2 is 14. Carry your 1. 7 times 1 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. I can multiply it out by the 0 as well. That would give me 0 and 0. My decimal is 1, 2, 1, 2. So 0.84. Okay. Again, I want you to pause the video and I want you to try this one. Remember, you're coloring in 4/10, which would be how much? 4 dimes. And these are pennies. So a whole row is a dime. Okay. So I want you to do 6, 7, 8, and 9 by yourself. All right. I want you to skip this one and skip this one. So you're doing these 4 by yourself to turn into the bucket. Flip your paper over. We have some just good multiplication. Okay. You can eliminate these 2. You are going to multiply each of these out. So again, and here, let me caution you. These are fine, but let me caution you here. This one has 3 digits. This one has 2. Put the 3 digits up top. So 18.2 times 2.2. Okay. Like this one right here, 5.7 times 13.4. The one with the more digits, put it on top. Because it doesn't change your answer. It just makes it easier to multiply. And you could put a 0 on it and make them both have 3 digits. You could do that, but just be very careful, okay? So the one with the longer, like this one with the 4, I would put that number on top and it'd make it easier, okay? So you're going to multiply these out for Ms. Webster. Remember, you're counting your decimals to answer. So look, we already know that this is going to go 1, 2 back. It's not going to fall down because it's 1 back in that factor and 1 back in that factor. So when you're done with this sheet, you're going to turn this into the bucket, And then we're all going to move on together, okay? The next thing that you have is your Module 3 assessment. This is really just assessing, making sure that you understand multiplying decimals, okay? I want you, so the first one says, explain how you can use a quick picture to find 3 times 2.7. Just really what I want you to do is I want you to multiply that and get me an answer. Here, use models or strategies to find the product. Multiply them. Put the longer number on top, okay? That's both 2 digits. So I want you to just multiply these out. And then I do want you to solve the bottom question, number 8 right there. So I want you to do this whole assessment. When you are done, I want this to go in the bucket. Make sure your name is on it, okay? Show me all of your work. Make sure your work is on this paper because this is going to be a test grade. When you're done with this, I want you to turn it into the bucket for me. Then the last thing you are doing for me is your Quizlet test. This is the words you've used all week that you have studied on Quizlet. So they are all multiple choice. You are going to put your name on the paper, and then you are going to go work those. It is front and back. So you need to work all of those out. Make sure you're careful. Read them carefully. I am going to read this test on the video just so I make sure that everyone, if you needed it read, you have it. And then if you don't need it read at this point, you can just stop the video. But if you need it read, if I normally read your test to you, then I want you to go ahead and listen to me read it. And then if you don't normally have your test read, if you'll just stop the video and then turn it off, and you will go and turn this into the bucket when you're done. You may get on Quizlet and play the games, and then don't forget to add in your last bit of vocabulary for the day. So here we go if you're having your test read. Numbers that are slightly adjusted to create groups of numbers that are easy to compute mentally. So numbers that are adjusted or changed. Is that whole numbers? Are they counting numbers, compatible numbers, or decimal numbers? What would we adjust? Okay. Question 2. If multiplying a number by a sum of numbers, the product will be the same as multiplying the number by each addend and then adding the products together. So multiplying the sum or getting the sum and then multiplying, is that decimal number, distributive property of multiplication, associative property of multiplication, counting numbers. The numbers that are the number that is being divided, so number 3, sorry, the number that is being divided, the number inside of the house, is that the quotient, the rounding, the divisor, or the dividend? Number 4, the rules of which calculations are performed first when simplifying an expression. We call this PEMDAS. Are those whole numbers, parentheses and brackets, counting numbers, or order of operation? Question 5. Symbols to show a group of terms or expressions within a mathematical expression. Compatible numbers, order of operation, parentheses and brackets, counting numbers. So symbols to show a group of expressions. Why this thing keeps zooming out. Okay, next page. And I'm going to zoom it in some so that possibly you can see it a little better. Okay, question 6. A type of estimation with specific rules for determining the closest value. Rounding, product, quotient, dividend. Question 7. A mathematical phrase with no equal sign that may contain a number, an unknown, which is called a variable, and or an operation. Is that an expression, an estimation, a divisor, or a product? No equal sign. Question 8. If the order of the factors are changed, the product will remain the same. So that means that you can multiply 3 times 4 is the same as 4 times 3. Commutative property of multiplication, quotient, associative property of multiplication, distributive property of multiplication. Question 9. A number in the base 10 place value system used to represent a quantity that may include part of a whole and is recorded with a decimal point separating the whole from the part. Divisor, whole number, decimal number, compatible number. So a decimal point separating the whole from the part, kind of like money. What do we call that? Question 10. A number multiplied by another number to find a product. Rounding, dividend, factor, divisor. Question 11. The set of positive numbers that begins at 1 and increases by increments of 1 each time. 1, 2, 3, so on. Whole numbers, counting numbers, compatible numbers, associative property of multiplication. Question 12. If 3 or more factors are multiplied, they can be grouped in any order, and the product will remain the same. Counting numbers, associative property of multiplication, compatible numbers, distributive property of multiplication. The number in a dividend is being divided by the number outside of the house is called the factor, divisor, dividend product. The dividend is divided by the divisor. The answer to a division problem, dividend, rounding, quotient, product. The answer to a division problem. The set of counting numbers and zeros, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Dividend, whole numbers, counting numbers, decimal numbers. So think about that, because 0, are we going to count 0, people? Okay, it's the set of counting numbers and zeros. So think about what those would be. We don't count, I have 0 money. We start at 1 when we're counting. Reasoning to determine an approximate value. Expression, dividend, quotient, estimation. Approximate value. The total when 2 or more factors are multiplied. The answer to a multiplication problem. The answer to a multiplication problem. Rounding, divisor, product, quotient. When you are done with this, please turn it into the box. And again, you may get on your Quizlet, Unit 5, and study those things. Make sure that everything gets glued into your math log. You have 2 foldables going in the foldable section, and then you have your work getting turned into the bucket. Have a great day. I will see you all on Monday, and I'm going to miss you over the weekend. Thank you for being so good.